Howdy guys, it's Joe here, and today I want to talk to you guys about how you can stop throwing as many ranked games, and how you can maybe help yourself win a few more games. Now of course, normally I talk just about how to improve yourself, but today I want to give you some more exact kind of tip things of what you shouldn't be doing in ranked, because these can either tilt your team, tilt yourself, or just make you win less games overall, and some of the main mistakes that I see used very often. Now I've especially been seeing these a lot because I've been smurfing, I'm on my account, I'm in my placement matches, and I'm getting placed with all sorts of people, and I'm seeing these mistakes like literally every single game. So hopefully you guys can help yourself with these and get a little bit better, and quite a few of them are actually pretty easy to think of, but I feel like a lot of people do them anyways, just because they don't really think about what will happen, the repercussions of them. Anyways, let's get straight onto the things that could probably help you not throw some of your ranked games. Now, the first thing that I'll tell you is don't tell people to switch their hero. Now, this could be in a lot of situations. It could be maybe they first pick a Genji and you're like, oh, I don't want Genji. You tell him to switch, he's probably getting a bit salty. As well with this, if you have someone like a soldier that's not taking out the Pharah, you don't really want to say, you know, switch soldier, you're doing so bad, someone else could try to do it. Because while it does seem like a good idea in your head, it does seem like a good way to play the game, you know? If someone's doing bad, they switch. Often in practice, it doesn't really work. Now, of course, if people actually did switch to another hero and, you know, they did all that you were hoping for, then it would be a good idea. But what happens most of the time is that you tell someone on your team to switch, and then as you do that, they start to think, you know, I guess I'm just playing bad. This guy's trying to attack my honor, and I'm just going to either troll, keep playing my character, or play another character, but just not try at all. And of course, I guess the fourth thing, they do change the new character, and they try their best, but that is really the least common thing. Even with this scenario, it's only like a 25% chance. So yeah, you really don't want to be doing that. Especially if somebody's doing really bad, you don't really want to say, you know, hey, can you switch? Now, one way that you can try to help maybe switch some of your teammates, I guess, is that at the beginning of a ranked game, you can press P, or whatever the button is, look at your teammates and see what the most played heroes are, and then be like, maybe, you know, can you play this hero that you play the most? And often they'll switch. But if you're in a game, if you're like halfway through it and you just decide to tell one of your players to switch to a certain hero just because, they're probably going to really feel bad about it and not going to do it, and it's just a bad idea. It's going to lower your morale, and you're just probably going to lose the game, to be honest. That's why I've lost a lot of games. So don't do that. Don't tell people to switch. Just let them keep going, try your best, and try to keep that team morale up. And if someone else on your team tells them to switch, try to like back them up a little bit. Be like, you know, we can play okay with this guy, and let's just keep trying our best, and let's just keep trying to win. Now, next I'd also say, do make sure to actually switch yourself. Don't be the guy that is getting offended when your teammates tell you to switch. Don't be the guy that's trolling when your teammates are telling you when to switch. Just think about the other side of the coin. How often do you do that? And just if you do it, don't stop it and actually switch when people tell you to. You know, if you're happening to do really bad as one of your characters, maybe it's a good time to change them up, even if people don't tell you to do it. And if people are telling you, well, I guess it's even a better time to change up who you're playing. Just don't get offended. Realize that people just want to win the games, and they think that they'll have a higher chance of winning if you switch, so just give it a shot. There's really not much you could lose, especially if you're already not doing great that game. A third thing that I also want to go over, that I see way too much of these lower ranks that I'm at, is that people play non-meta heroes when they're not maining them. Now, I feel like a thing that a lot of people really kind of don't understand is that I'm completely fine if you play a non-meta hero. That is completely fine if you play Hanzo, if you play Tor, play Symmetra. I guess those guys are kind of meta now, but you know, any non-meta hero, Winston, I'm completely fine with it if you main them or secondary them, or you just have a ton of time with the character and really know how to play them. That's okay. You know how to play the character and you can play them well in the game. The problem is that I see very often is people are picking non-meta heroes while they also have very little time on the character, aka they barely know how to play the character. Now, personally, I would rather have someone on my team like a soldier that barely knows how to play him than someone like a Junkrat that barely knows how to play him, because simply put, soldier's stats are better. He's meta right now. He's a stronger pick right now. And you should just be playing the character that's stronger if you don't know how to play the other. If you're not better at one than the other, just pick the stronger hero. It just kind of makes sense. I feel like a lot of people just don't really understand this. They don't go for it. But yeah, as if you're not maining an anti-meta hero, don't play them. Well, on the other hand, if you do main one of these guys, I'm perfectly fine with it. But yeah, for the majority of people that don't just randomly switch to a non-meta hero just because you kind of want to play them right now. And I guess in a quick addition to this, don't randomly go playing heroes that you don't ever play. I don't know why, but I see this so often. People, whether it be their teammates tell them to play a certain hero, or whether it be they just decide that they randomly want to play Mercy this game, they'll just pick up the hero and go for it into rank. They may have 60 hours into Genji, but they're like, this game, I'm going to be playing McCree. And while you might be doing good some games, honestly, just play who you're good at. If you happen to be one of these players that often just go into a game and you don't know who to play, you don't know who you want to play, but you have a lot of time on one hero, play that one hero that you have a lot of time on. And on the other hand, if you happen to be one of the players that have a lot of time on one hero, but for some reason you pick other characters, just play that one hero and save the other characters for quick play, for all the other game modes, for the arcade. You'll do fine there. Just play your best heroes on ranked, because that's really how you can climb the easiest. And the final thing that I see a lot of people do that throws their rank game the most, this is definitely the number one thing, is people not fully giving up after losing a point, or after the enemy getting a point very quickly, but kind of giving up in their heads, or giving bad morale, or just not trying the hardest they can possibly do. Now, of course, everybody says, you know, don't give up at first point, but the thing is, most people don't give up on first point. They don't stop playing the game. If the enemy team happens to get their first point really quickly, they'll keep in the game, they'll keep playing it. But the thing is that you really have to realize is that if you kind of give up mentally on the first point, the chance of you protecting second point is pretty much like zero. I've seen in the majority of the cases of my games, at least 80% of my games, when we protect first point really well and then they get to second point, we can protect second point. While if they happen to blast through first point and no one says anything, we often lose second point. The thing that you have to try to do for your team, and you have to try to do for yourself, is that you have to remind people that even if the enemies get first point, even if they push really far in a singular push, even if they get a lot of time on Koth, even if they get like a 2-0 on Koth, that's okay. You guys can start it up, you guys can just redo everything, reconstruct your team, and then go in and try the best you possibly can. Just because you lose at the beginning doesn't mean that you've lost all the way through the game. And you do have to remind yourself this, like, on the daily, honestly. Whenever you start to do really bad at the beginning, it makes your chance of winning go down the drain. Just people don't try, or at least they don't try hard nearly as much. But if you can happen to be that one person on your team that says, you know what, we've lost in this first point, maybe we can switch up our team comp, or let's just all wait for each other, group up, get out there, and just go and try our hardest, and just try to be a kind of shining light of hope for your team, often it can actually do a little bit of help for your team. Of course, you don't have to be nearly that dramatic. You can say like, okay guys, let's group up, wait for each other, set up a little bit further back, and wait for the enemy to run into our trap, or just wait for the enemy to eventually come here. That'll do a lot better than just saying nothing. What I see often is people say nothing. They lose the first point, they get demolished, they say nothing, or even worse, they say, oh, we're screwed, I guess I'll just switch, or they just say, oh, we're screwed, and that's all they say. As always, as everyone said, if you have nothing good to say nothing at all, and especially on a game that's based so much on morale, you really need to give your team as much morale as you can. And if you are the player that when you lose on first point that you say, you know, we're screwed here, you need to fix yourself. You need to try to help your team the best they can, as once you do that, your chance of winning really goes up drastically. But yeah, that's at least all I really have to say. Now I've gotten to masters myself with some of these tips, so hopefully it can help you at least a little bit, and hopefully this can kind of open your eyes to some of the things that you might be doing, or some of the things that your teammate can be doing. Now, of course, don't patronize your teammate, but be like, hey, just don't say that, you know, it's not going to help our team at all. And a lot of times people do it. Don't be like, you know, you're so toxic, stop saying that. Just say, please stop, and that can actually help a bit. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed, as always, make sure to leave a like, comment down below what you personally think, and also what you think are some of the other mistakes that a lot of people really make, really at any levels of sphere, be it gameplay mistakes or, you know, mental mistakes. Anyways, as always, thank you guys for watching though. Subscribe if you enjoy this content, and as always, have a wonderful day.